Light FM. Phil Collins doing his Diana Ross imitation there. He was nowhere near as cute, was he? It's 8:41. 19 here before 9. Time to double check on your money and see what Wall Street's doing to us lately, because pretty much doing to is what it's been for the last couple of weeks. Anyway, let's check in with Phillip Statler from Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring and see what his take is. Phillip, how are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Dave. Doing well today. You know, we've had a couple of red days coming off of Memorial Day. And the question today will be, is the PCE number going to help or hurt what the markets end up doing today?
And this could be interesting. I frankly expected the softer GDP number for the first quarter to be a helper yesterday, and it really didn't help much because the Dow ended up falling another 330 points. Standard & Poor's down 31.5, and NASDAQ down a full 1.08%, down another $184 yesterday. That didn't help one tiny little bit. The S&P, I think I saw this, the S&P is down by like 4% in the last week and a half or so. That's not the direction we want to see it go, especially if I'm getting close to retirement, is it?
No, it's not, but let's face it, Dave, we are sitting at some pretty high numbers right now. We've not seen much of a correction since we bumped our nose on those highs. So, you know, a little retrenchment would not be out of the question here just based on how many highs we've hit in the last month.
And that was kind of what I was expressing on Monday while I was soloing. You know, when we have a couple of really poopy days in here, it just makes you say, okay, fine. At the very least, we're in nosebleed territory. So if we go down 5%, we're still doing pretty doggone well compared to the beginning of the year.
Well, that's right. And so, yeah, year to date, we're still up looking good. So if we can continue that, if we can continue that momentum, even if we get a little dip here and there, I think it would not be a bad thing to come back down and hit a floor somewhere and then bounce back up.
Absolutely. And the floor, we only can cross our fingers that we might have hit it yesterday, because the PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditures Inflation Rate, that's the number that Jay Paulson says that he watches the most carefully, and we got our monthly figure with a couple of weeks before the next Fed meeting, and it actually is encouraging. First of all, the overall number dropped by a little bit, 0.3% inflation during the last month on the PCE number. That brings our annualized rate down to 2.7%. Now, Paulson watches the core PCE, pulls out the stuff that goes up and down erratically, so he gets a little bit better picture. The core, basically everything's flat, up 0.2%, and the core personal consumption expenditures inflation rate now comes in at 2.8%. No improvement, but we didn't lose any ground either. And I add in the fact that personal incomes went up by 0.3%, so we kind of held steady during the month of April. I'm going to call that good news for the moment anyway.
Well, yeah, I think it is, and obviously the markets liked it because they flipped from a good solid red early this morning to some green ink. So that was they're liking what they see as well.
Absolutely, glad to hear that part. You've got the instant tick numbers. I look at the delayed quotes. So the first question out of my mouth when you picked up the phone was, "All right, did they like the inflation number?" And I was kind of glad to hear them do that. We do have a flaky earnings season. We were talking about Salesforce yesterday. They slid a full 20% yesterday. After that disappointing number, the traders are just not very charitable to companies that are missing even by just a little bit, are they?
No, they're really not. And I think, everything yesterday got, for the most part, got hit. Even NVIDIA was down like almost 4% yesterday.
Oh, I didn't see feet don't fail me. NVIDIA actually lost something on a day?
Yeah, they were down like, almost 3.75% yesterday.
Well, that explains why the NASDAQ was our big loser of the bunch in the thing. I've been kind of getting used to the notion that NASDAQ loses a little because NVIDIA is going through the roof and the blue chips go to heck in a handbasket. Didn't work that way today. Light day as far as reporting is concerned, but we do have some retail to talk about. And Nordstrom's is one of those higher-end general retail stores that kind of gives me a bellwether for what the rich folks have for disposable income. How'd they do?
Well, Nordstrom's not so well, Dave. They were expected to have a loss of 8 cents a share. They actually lost 24 cents a share. So substantially more than expected. Revenue was a little bit more than expected, but it's got Nordstrom's trading down this morning 4% before we get started. And my tip sheet did finally hit, so I got some more numbers for us, Dave.
All right.
We got Ulta. Ulta actually had a decent quarter. They beat by about 23 cents a share at $6.47. Revenue was just slightly above expectations, but that's got the likes of Ulta trading up this morning, up 9.33%.
I cannot believe the weird size swings that we're getting off of reports. Okay, Ulta beats by a little bit, but it doesn't sound like a 9% market cap increase inside of 20 minutes, does it?
No, it's just crazy what's happening there. Now we do have, and I don't have the exact numbers here, but Dell Technologies, they're getting hit this morning. They came out with some warnings about their AI server that they have developed. I guess orders are not as strong as the analysts expected them to be. Gross margins are falling and pulling back some. They're trading down. They're going to be the big loser today, maybe like Salesforce yesterday, down 16% this morning.
Wow. Yeah, what I was going to say, we're failing at artificial intelligence. That sounds like a poison pill given the way the market's responding to anything involving AI these days, doesn't it?
That's right, exactly. So, hey, we had Marvel Technologies reported. They reported in line with expectations, but their estimates were adjusted and came up a little shy of what the analysts thought they should be. So they're trading down about 0.8% today. I think that's all. Yeah, that's all I have on earnings today, Dave.
All righty. We will have some more stuff because I know Costco is reporting a little later on today, and that's going to be a big topic of conversation on Monday, I'd wager, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir. Sure will be.
Resetting the table. Another off day yesterday. We were unimpressed with just about everything that happened through the day. Blue chips, tech stocks, S&P 500, everything fell like a relative rock. How are we doing 45 minutes before the market opens this morning, Phillip?
Dave, I can report that we've got green ink this morning as we get ready to open up the day. We've got the Dow up 0.25%, the S&P 500 is up 0.33%, and the NASDAQ 100 is up about 0.33%. The Russell 2000, the big winner right now, up a little over 0.5% before we start trading today. On the other side, we've got silver up 0.33% as well as gold, and then crude oil is up about 0.2% to $78.08 a barrel right now.
It's up, but that's lower than it was yesterday at this time, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit lower.
Yeah, as long as it's under 79, I'm starting to almost get used to that garbage. Overseas markets, the Asian Rim, following our yesterday, they were pretty much solidly in red ink, except for Australia. Something good happened over there. Everybody else was red, and we were down by almost 1% in the Asian Rim on balance. European markets, looking at our futures, and I'm watching them turn even as we go. They are following us. European markets up between 1/3 and 0.5% halfway through their day, and that's almost double the gains that they had just 10 minutes ago before our PCE number came to fruition. So, yeah, they do watch us over there, and they follow our futures pretty closely. Retirement is something you got to plan for. You don't just trust it to luck and Social Security. How do I get a hold of you to get a plan so I can afford to retire someday?
Dave, you can give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule your core retirement analysis, or you can go to our website at statlerfinancial.com and click the link there to schedule a phone call. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk 730, 95.3 FM.
And, of course, here on Monday morning, again, to tell you what happened to your money over the weekend and is likely to happen to it on Monday. You have a good weekend, sir, and I'll see you then.
All right, buddy. You too.
Thank you. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Hey, folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you again next week. Take care. Bye now.